Welcome back to the quarterly call. All content is for informational purposes and is not investment advice. Please consult with an investment professional.
All right, so jumping right in, we're going to take a close look at Tencent's Q4 2024 earnings call.
Yeah, and I think what's fascinating about these calls, especially if the company is influential as Tencent, is it gives you a peek beyond just the numbers.
Absolutely.
Like, what's their strategic thinking? What are they betting on?
Right, exactly. And in this case, a lot of that focuses on AI.
AI, yeah, for sure. It's everywhere. But Tencent's scale, their moves could really shift the whole tech landscape.
No question. So we're going to break down their financial performance, dive into those AI initiatives, see how their gaming and advertising businesses are doing, and, of course, where they're putting the money.
All the good stuff. We'll cut through the jargon, make it clear what's actually important for the big picture.
Right, so first things first, those Q4 2024 numbers. Revenue hit 172 billion RMB. That's an 11% jump year on year. Pretty solid.
Yeah, and what I found interesting is this double-digit growth in Q4, it wasn't just a fluke. You look back throughout 2024, each quarter, their revenue growth got stronger. That suggests some real momentum.
Yeah, definitely. And it's not just revenue either. Their profitability was also up significantly. Gross profit rose 17% to 91 billion RMB, and then non-IFRS operating profit, that jumped even higher, 21% to 59 billion. And non-IFRS net profit attributable to shareholders, that was the real standout, 30% growth to 55 billion.
So profits going faster than revenue, what's driving that?
Well, they talk about shifting to, and I'm quoting here, higher quality revenue streams.
Interesting.
So basically, they're looking to get more out of their existing users and grow in areas with, well, better profit margins. It's like a potential evolution of their strategy.
Makes sense. It's not just about grabbing users anymore.
Right. It's about efficiency, profitability alongside that growth.
Which brings us to, well, the elephant in the room, or maybe the algorithm in the code, AI. Tencent's been building in this space for a while now, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. They set up their AI lab back in 2016, so they're not new to this. But since early 2023, they've really ramped up investment in their own foundation model, Hunyuan.
Yuan, okay.
This is clearly a strategic focus for them. They want to use it to boost both their consumer products and their enterprise cloud services.
And it sounds like Hunyuan is making some serious progress. They mentioned some pretty advanced stuff.
Yeah. And what's really striking is how fast they're iterating, how much innovation there is. They talked about this mixture of experts architecture, which is basically combining multiple AI models, each specialized, to get a more powerful and efficient system overall. Then they've got Hunyuan Turbo and Turbo S, which are designed to handle longer sequences of information better. That's a big challenge in AI, right? And then there's Hunyuan T1, their deep thinking model. They're saying it's a leading model in China for complex reasoning tasks.
So not just text, right? Hunyuan works with different kinds of data.
It's a multimodal foundation model. So it can process and generate not just text, but images, videos, even 3D content. They're claiming top scores on industry benchmarks for image and video generation, which is pretty impressive. Shows a high level of sophistication.
This multimodal approach, that seems key to them rolling out AI across their entire ecosystem.
Yeah, for sure. And they've actually got this multi-model strategy for their consumer AI. And it makes sense, right? Different models are better at different things. By combining them in smart ways, they can create a much richer user experience.
Right. And speaking of consumer AI, at the heart of it seems to be Yuanbao, their AI native app.
Yeah, Yuanbao, that's their big play. They want it to be this all-encompassing AI assistant. What's cool is it already uses multiple AI models, including T1, that reasoning engine, and Turbo S, which is faster. But crucially, it also pulls in web search results. And a lot of that is proprietary content from within Tencent's own world, like their official accounts and video accounts.
And you don't just type in text, right? You can use images, voice, even upload documents as prompts.
Exactly. They're really pushing the boundaries of how we interact with AI.
And the user growth they're seeing with Yuanbao, that's got to be exciting for them. 20-fold increase in daily active users from February to March.
That's massive.
That's huge. Shows there's real demand for these AI tools.
Yeah. And it's not just Yuanbao. They're also smartly integrating AI into Weixin. Things like search, language input, content creation. Think about how big Weixin is. Even small AI tweaks there can have a huge impact.
Right. It's not just consumers, though, right? Tencent is using AI to boost its enterprise cloud services, too.
Yeah, absolutely. So on the infrastructure side, their IA, they're offering the computing tower needed for AI training and inference.
It's like the muscle to build and run AI models.
Exactly. Then there's their TI platform, which is Peril AS. That gives businesses a more user-friendly way to fine-tune existing models with their own data, even build their own AI assistants. And then on the software side, SaaS, things like Tencent Meeting and Tencent Docs, they're getting AI features for transcription, summarization, even content generation.
And this focus on AI for their cloud business, I mean, it seems to be paying off. Their AI cloud revenue doubled year on year in 2024.
Yeah, definitely seeing results there. But there was a little hiccup, actually. Their overall cloud services revenue growth was a bit held back. And that's because they've been prioritizing their own internal AI development, using a lot of their GPU resources to train their models and for AI inference in apps like Yuanbao and within Weixin.
So they're basically using their own cloud capacity to power their AI ambitions. It's like a strategic trade-off, right? Short-term hit for long-term gain.
Exactly. And they have been buying a lot more GPUs. They're expecting that as those come online, we'll see their cloud services revenue growth pick up again as they can better serve external clients.
Okay. And what I find really interesting is how they're weaving AI into their more established businesses too, like advertising and gaming.
Yeah, for sure. So in their marketing services, they've been using AI for a while to refine their ad tech. But now they're adding large language model capabilities to make ad content approvals more efficient, understand user intent better, target ads more precisely, even give advertisers generative AI tools to create content. This seems to be a big reason why their marketing services revenue grew by 20% in 2024.
That's significant. And in gaming, it sounds like they're using AI for everything, from matching players and balancing games to AI-powered coaching, 3D content creation, even better in-game chatbots.
Right, and this is all about keeping those big game titles fresh and engaging. The potential for AI to make their evergreen games even more evergreen, that's a pretty compelling idea.
Yeah, totally. Keep players coming back for more.
Exactly. They also mentioned using AI in their video and music services, for content creation and recommendations. It's really across the board.
They even restructured their AI teams, right? To
Yeah.
put even more focus on both product innovation and core model research.
Yep, that's a pretty clear signal, right? AI is not just some side project for them. It's core to their whole operation now.
And they're putting their money where their mouth is, right? Their capital expenditure, it more than tripled in 2024, hit $10.7 billion. A lot of that was in Q4, mostly for buying GPUs, and they're planning to bump up their CapEx even more in 2025 to a low teens percentage of their revenue.
Yeah, no messing around there. Shows how serious they are about AI. And it's not just about the hardware, right? They're still investing heavily in R&D for their own AI models and applications, and also in marketing AI products like Yuanbao.
All right, so shifting gears a bit, let's talk about their bread and butter, gaming. Seems like both their domestic and international games are doing well.
Yeah, domestic games saw 23% year-on-year revenue growth. That was driven by their big established games, the evergreen ones like Honor of Kings and Peacekeeper Elite. But also new releases like DNF Mobile and Delta Force did well.
And on the international side, revenue was up 15% year on year. Games like Brawl Stars and PUBG Mobile are still going strong. Plus, they had the early access release of Path of Exile too.
It's really impressive how they keep those evergreen games performing. They're smart about using IP collaborations and in-game events to keep players engaged. Like, they talked about Honor of Kings getting a boost from a Detective Conan collaboration, and Valorant benefited from their tie-in with that championship-winning esports team and their popular Arcane animated series.
They also mentioned that daily active users for their top games were up during the Spring Festival compared to last year, so people are still playing, and they've got a bunch of promising new games in the pipeline too.
Yeah, the pipeline looks good. And as we talked about before, AI is going to play a bigger and bigger role in their games business, not just for content creation, but for smarter bots in single-player modes and improving things like matchmaking and balance in multiplayer games.
Right, it could make those evergreen games even more evergreen, if you know what I mean.
Exactly. Now, moving on to advertising and marketing services, another strong area for them, especially in Q4.
Yeah, their marketing services revenue is up 17% year on year. They talked about higher user engagement across their platforms and, of course, those AI improvements to their ad tech.
Yeah, the AI is key here. It helps them understand user preferences better so they can show more relevant ads.
Their video accounts seem to be a real bright spot. Revenue there jumped over 60% year on year. That's incredible.
Yeah, that's huge growth. And it's being driven by, more users on the platform, the AI improvements we talked about, and also more and more commercial transactions happening within video accounts. So they're creating a direct link between advertising and sales.
Smart. And mini programs are also pulling their weight with fast revenue growth.
The new programs are doing really well. And Wexon's search revenue more than doubled. That's because of more commercial search queries and those AI-optimized ad placements within the search results.
So their whole advertising ecosystem seems to be firing on all cylinders.
Definitely. And they're seeing this growth across a wide range of industries, which shows how strong and broad their advertising platform is.
All right, so let's wrap up with their fintech and business services. Still important parts of their business.
Yeah. So their fintech services revenue, that's back to low single-digit year-on-year growth, mostly because of higher commercial payment volumes and growth in their wealth management and consumer loan services. They did mention that while payment transaction volume is up, they're facing some pricing pressure, so revenue in that specific area is pretty stable.
Okay. And what about business services?
Moderate growth there, driven by their cloud services, which we talked about, and also increased fees for tech services related to e-commerce.
Got it.
Worth noting, their enterprise collaboration tools, WeCom and Tencent Meeting, did really well. Revenue for WeCom more than doubled, and Tencent Meeting grew over 40% year-on-year. Shows strong demand for those kinds of tools.
Yeah, the whole work from anywhere trend is definitely fueling that. Okay, last but not least, capital allocation. Always a hot topic for investors.
Right, so in 2024, Tencent was focused on returning capital to shareholders. They bought back 112 billion HKD worth of their own shares. They're also proposing a bigger annual dividend for 2024, 4.5 HKD per share. That's a 32% increase over last year.
Wow, that's significant.
And they plan to keep it up in 2025, with a share buyback of at least 80 billion HKD and another dividend increase. Shows confidence in their future.
Yeah, for sure.
They stress that their capital allocation strategy is about balancing investment in future growth, especially in AI, with giving back to shareholders. They're in a strong financial position, good operating cash flow, a big portfolio of liquid investments,
Yeah.
so they have the flexibility to do both.
Makes sense. Looking ahead, it seems like AI is going to be the defining factor for Tencent's future.
Absolutely. They're really pushing that vision of Yuan Bao as this all-powerful AI assistant.
Yeah.
And they've got those advantages, right? Access to their huge content ecosystem and their multi-model AI approach.
They even talked about AI search potentially taking over from traditional search engines. That's a
Yeah.
pretty bold idea.
Yeah, that's a big one. And it's possible, right? AI is so much more efficient, and it can do things traditional search can't. Plus, there's the potential for transactions within AI search. It could be a whole new ballgame.
Definitely something to watch. And how do they plan to make money from all this AI stuff?
Well, they mentioned things like subscriptions for advanced AI features and performance-based advertising within AI-powered services.
Interesting. So what about the competition? Lots of companies are jumping on the AI bandwagon. How does Tencent see itself stacking up?
They believe their strengths are the quality of their own AI models, their massive user base across all their platforms like the browser, Yuanbao, Weixin, QQ, and of course that incredibly rich ecosystem within Weixin with social content, work, learning, transactions, mini programs, everything.
That's like a whole world in there.
Exactly. But they also stress that they're being careful about how they develop AI agent experiences. They're prioritizing data security and user comfort, which is really important to build trust.
Makes sense. So, to sum it all up, Tencent had a strong Q4 in 2024. Their investments in AI are paying off, and their gaming and advertising businesses are still going strong. Plus, they're committed to giving back to shareholders.
Yeah, and that focus on AI, it's not just talk. It's woven into everything they do now. And it has the potential to change not just their own business, but the whole digital landscape.
It's a fascinating time to be following this space.
It is. And it leaves us with a question, something to think about. How is this integration of AI into platforms like Weixin, which are so central to our lives, how is that going to change how we interact online, how we use digital services? What new possibilities will it unlock? And what challenges will we face as we deal with more and more AI-powered systems in our daily lives?
Big questions, lots to ponder.
Definitely.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Quarterly Call. For more episodes, please remember to rate and follow our show. Until next time, stay curious and stay informed.